Islam all too human. This is Aben al-Huria, son of freedom. Today I'll be covering items 1 through 9. This is going to be a series on ways for me to desacralize Islam. Purpose of the study: I intend to show that many aspects of Islam can be explained in purely human terms. Therefore, no human being is obligated to view Islam as of divine origin. This will have the effect of depriving Islam of political power. This will have the effect of demoralizing militant Muslims. This will cause some, hopefully Muslims, to doubt their belief system. It is my intent to weaken the Islamic empire, and it is an empire because it is political. I hope to contribute to increasing numbers of open and crypto apostates. I want to give hope to people who live as dhimmis under Muslim rule, that is, subjugated populations. I want to cause defections from the ranks of militant Muslims. I hope to make belief in Islam go the way as belief in the flat earth. Plan of the study. This study will not try to be exhaustive. I want to give people many easy to digest critiques that they can write down easily and remember. And let me suggest that you have a handful of flashcards in front of you that you could write on, and as you see some of these examples I'm going to show to you, write them down and then write the references on the back of the card and try to memorize the idea and the reference. Idea, reference, idea, reference. If you could memorize 6 or 10 of these, that would be fantastic, because you're going to need them later, because the time is going to come when you will need to have them ready to go. Many of these criticisms are well known, in which case I will be just one more voice, but I hope I will hit on the handful of criticisms of Islam that will pull some Muslims free of their bondage. I will include one or several criticisms in each part of this series until I have treated enough of them. Motivations of this study: Islam is a militant doctrine or ideology which seeks to subjugate the entire planet under its political and legal system called Sharia law. Islam employs violence, called jihad, to achieve its aims, and this has been true since Islam began. Islam uses what it calls civilization jihad to undermine the constitution, laws, and institutions of the target countries, including the United States. Dhimmi populations who live under Muslim rule live under the threat of death and live in a highly oppressive situation. They need relief from their oppression. Non-Muslims are regularly persecuted by Muslims in Muslim countries. Muslims are also in bondage, whether they realize it or not. In that sense, they are victims. If Islam is not true, then Muslims are under a system of rule that regulates even the smallest aspects of their lives, and for no good reason. If a Muslim doubts their faith, they have little access to information, given the threats and totalitarianism they live under, to test the truth claims of Islam. If a Muslim decides to leave the faith, they are branded an apostate and face a death sentence in Islamic countries. Only Muslims living in non-Muslim countries have the luxury of apostatizing. Muslims in Islamic countries who convert away from Islam must live a double life and look for any opportunity to emigrate. I want to provide Muslims with reasons to abandon their belief so they are free human beings to choose the best life for themselves. I also want to protect the West from the corrosive effects of Islamization. Okay, let's begin with the examples now. So I'll do examples 1 through 9 today. Number 1, contradiction and moral failure on the matter of brigandry. This is highway robbery. In Reliance of the Traveler, section 015, the topic of the penalty for highway robbery is discussed. If a highwayman robs out of earshot of would-be rescuers, the penalty is the amputation of right hand and left foot. If a highwayman causes the death of a victim, the penalty is death, and his body is to be crucified for 3 days. Yet Muhammad engaged in numerous acts of brigandry during his career. During the course of his career, he directed the attack and plunder of caravans, including those to and from Mecca. And you can see the references on the screen. In addition to the contradiction, the mere practice by Muhammad of brigandry does not support his claims to be a prophet of superior moral character. 2. Islam presupposes a flat earth. Quran 1886 depicts the sun as setting in a spring of black, muddy water. The historical account is that Eratosthenes discovered that the earth is round over 2,000 years ago. The shadow cast by a vertical object at the city of Syene vanished at noon at summer solstice, that is June 21st. But at Alexandria, at summer solstice, there was a shadow of 7 degrees. From this, the approximate circumference of the earth could be computed. If the Quran and Muhammad were inspired, they would have got it right. Instead, the Quran's picture of a flat earth belies the human origin of its understanding of the earth-sun geometry. 3. Just dunk the fly completely. Islamic sources teach that if a fly lands in your soup, it carries a disease on one wing, but if it carries an antidote on the other wing, So just dunk the fly, and the disease will not harm you. This teaching is found in multiple hadiths. Needless to say, this is pre-scientific conjecture about disease. Yet, amazingly, I have seen Muslim apologists trying to defend this cure. This teaching shows that Islamic understanding of medicine is not inspired, but is located in a 7th century understanding of disease. It's just human. 4. Just eat 7 Ajwa dates before drinking bleach. Here's a way to test to see if a Muslim believes in the inerrancy of the hadith, that is, the sayings of Muhammad. Imagine you are at debate with a Muslim on a morning show. Infidel. Welcome to Morning Hour with the Infidel. Turning to the Muslim. Do you believe in the inerrancy of your prophet's words? Muslim. Of course. The prophet, peace be upon him, tells the truth. So, why are there 7 Ajwa dates and a bottle of bleach on the table? Infidel. According to Bukhari 765-356 and Sahih Muslim, section 2047, your prophet says that if you eat 7 Ajwa dates in the morning, you will not be harmed by poison that day. So I would like you to show that your prophet never lies by eating the 7 Ajwa dates and then chasing them with a bottle of bleach. Muslim. Eyeing the bleach. Well, you have to give the dates time to prepare the body to ward off the poison. It takes at least 2 hours to work. Muslim again. And did you read that hadith in Arabic? 5. Revelation of Convenience 1. Muhammad did not like his guests to stay too long at his house. This is found in Quran 33:53. It says, "Don't come to the Prophet's house while the meal is being prepared. Come when you are told," presumably when it's ready. When you're done eating, don't linger to have a conversation with the Prophet. This is because it annoys the Prophet, and he's shy, and he doesn't have the heart to tell you to go home. But Allah will tell you this. If you ask one of the Prophet's wives for something, ask from behind a curtain. You are not allowed to marry one of the Prophet's wives after he dies. In this, Muhammad casts Allah as his sock puppet. 6. Revelation of Convenience 2. Muhammad adopts a man named Zayd ibn Haritha. Zayd marries a beautiful woman, Zainab bint Jahsh. One day, Muhammad goes to Zayd's house, but he's not home. But Zainab is scantily dressed. Muhammad sees her figure and refuses to go in. He is heard uttering the equivalent of, "Lord have mercy," as he departs. Zayd finds out about this and offers his wife to Muhammad. It is suggested, in interpretations of this, that the marriage was an unhappy one. It is also suggested that Zayd did this out of sheer respect for the Prophet. Muhammad gets a revelation that he should not feel moral compunction about marrying Zainab, that Allah is giving her to him. This is Quran 33:37. It is suggested that this event is for the purpose of making this type of situation halal for future believers. It is obvious that this is a revelation of convenience, so it is no revelation at all. And why would Allah care so much about this particular situation, one of thousands and thousands of possibilities, that this was so important to include in the Quran? It is beyond credibility to believe that. 7. The cosmology of the Quran is geocentric. Quran 36:38-40 describes the sun and the moon from an earth-centric perspective. This passage describes the sun as moving in a fixed course, that is, by Allah's decree. The language, or the phases of the moon, are likened to an old dried date stalk. This is pre-scientific, clearly pre-scientific language. Quote, the sun is not allowed to overtake the moon, end quote, and, quote, the night does not outstrip the day, end quote, are merely phenomenological language. They merely assert that Allah somehow arranges this. They do not inform us of anything. Quran 38:40 describes the sun as being in its own orbit. This is just an earth-centered perspective. The cosmology of the Quran would not know about how the sun orbits the galactic center. Doubtless, Muslim apologists will seize on this to claim that the Quran predicts the sun's orbit around the galactic center. Watch for that. 8. A human embryo is merely a clot of blood. This is mentioned in Quran 22:5 as one of the stages of human development. This is obviously a pre-scientific speculation on the prenatal human development. 9. Muslim jihadis are permitted to rape their female captives. Here are the references. When a jihadi takes a woman into captivity as war booty, her marriage becomes immediately annulled. This is true even if the husband is still living. The jihadi must wait the prescribed waiting period to ensure that she is not pregnant. The jihadi does not have to use coitus interrupted. This was discussed and settled by Muhammad. Muhammad said that if Allah wills a child to result, it will happen. In this, the woman has no say. She is merely property. Not only is this a reprehensible teaching, it is allowed in Islamic doctrine and shows that Islam is not inspired. Islamic doctrine commits you to the position that if she is taken captive as war booty, what happens to female war captives is by definition not rape. This is an Orwellian world, needless to say. Okay, that ends the first 9 items, and I'll post these, and then we'll have some more ready to go pretty soon.